Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. This is going to be quite a short one. We're going to do a restoration or rather repair. This is a late 80s sea pony and as you can see there is a lot of damage inside of it. This is actually quite common with sea ponies because they were designed as bath toys. However, Hasbro also made the interesting choice of putting a metal weight inside the pony. There was also a little hole in the head so the water could come out in and out and the pony would float. However, as you can imagine, a metal weight in water is not a great idea because it would rust, break, and sometimes it will have nowhere to go. And this is what we're seeing in this pony. So before we start with the repair, let's do a quick ID. Because of its size, this is a baby sea pony from the My Little Pony Generation 1 lineup. It came out with other babies during year 6, so 1997 to 1998, as part of the watercolor baby sea ponies, which we will explain soon. And I just want to bring your attention to the tail because this is something you can use for identifying the baby sea ponies or the sea ponies. Now, like I said, this is part of the watercolor ponies lineup, and what these ponies did was change color when you put them in water. I'm going to do a little experiment just seeing if we can see any changes with cold water or hot water. However, the original color for this pony before you soaked it into water was blue, so I don't think we're going to get any effects. And yes, as expected, nothing changed. This is very common with the watercolor ponies, and I have been wondering about how they were made, if they maybe used a patina of paint, if the color changing pigment was inside the plastic. Pony production is something I do cover in my book, but I couldn't find information for all the lines, and there are still some questions around color changing pigments for like magic ponies and sea ponies. But anyway, I did a few soaks at different temperatures, no change, no soak. So we can go to the next step, which is cleaning the pony. And to do that we need to remove the head. Now, this is a process that it's very mysterious, I would say. You never know what you're going to find. Sometimes you have the original glue, which is very, very difficult to remove. Sometimes you have re-glues made usually by parents, which can be even more difficult to remove. Many collectors will not open a factory glue head. I think in this case, because there is so much rust inside, I don't see a way that we could extract all of that rust just from the little breathing hole of the pony, because it's very, very like stick to the, in my experience at least, before opening it, and then it turned out to be true. It was very stick to the surface of the plastic. Stuck. The plastic is very porous, so you can have rust and mold, and yeah, you're not gonna remove it very easily. So anyway, I soaked the pony in hot water for a bit. This makes the plastic softer and also reduces the risk of accidentally completely like removing the head with the plug and everything, which we definitely do not want. Sometimes hot water is all you need to open a pony. Sometimes you need to use a hobby knife, and sometimes you can use some acetone. I made the mistake of using a lot of acetone. So if you accidentally clicked on this thumbnail and you think you're going to see a very, very like professional and careful restoration, I am very sad to inform you that I made so many mistakes that this is just a fun little video where we're just going to clean this pony and make it look a little better than it originally was. So not really a restoration. What you just saw was the first mistake, but the real mistake was this. Because, as I noticed afterwards, I actually accidentally erased some of the fin paint. At that point, I had a very difficult decision to make. Is this still going to be a repair or is it going to be a custom? But because watercolor ponies are, I think, not that common, at least in my experience here in the UK, I don't see that many of them. So I don't want to change the hair especially. The hair is a very, very different texture, and we're going to see this as the video continues. And before making any other decisions, I also want to see what the pony looks like once it's clean. So we're going to move on to the cleaning now, which is going to be a very simple bath of warm water and some soap. You can use any soap or dishwashing soap. Much better than dishwater soap or water. Anyway, while we do the cleaning, I'm going to tell you a little bit about this pony family. To quote my book, the sea ponies are aquatic versions of My Little Pony with fish-like tails instead of legs. They are designed to swim rather than stand, and during the roughly 10-year history of My Little Pony Generation 1, there were 5 poses, or sea ponies came out in 5-6 poses. It depends if you think a fancy mermaid or a mermaid is part of a sea pony species. I don't know, it's a taxonomy question. Hasbro hasn't clarified. But anyway, let's talk about the 5 main. There were 2 poses for adult sea ponies and then 3 poses for babies. And the first lineup of sea ponies were all adults. They came out as early as the year 2, and there were also UK variants, or European variants. These 3 initial ponies already had the metal weight, and they came with accessories like a clamshell, and the clamshell had suction cups so you could attach it to your bathtub or to your tiles, and you could pose the pony in the little shell. Then during year 3 we have another wave of adult ponies, 6 of them, and the first group of baby sea ponies. Now these baby ponies floated better, and I can imagine because they used less material, so they were, you know, a bit cheaper to manufacture maybe, but yeah, people responded really well to them. So from here on we will have other sea pony families. They will all be babies, no adults anymore. Now, as you might have noticed, I have some trouble deciding what tool to use to clean the inside of this pony because the opening for the head is really small. And I started thinking, okay, what curved tools do I have? And I have these little tweezers that are a little curved. So I made cotton balls and I grabbed them with the tweezers, put them inside the head and used that to clean the walls, like to scrape the walls of the inner skin. And I was very surprised, pleasantly surprised, because this worked really well. So definitely something to keep in mind if you need to clean a toy like this. Especially because cotton is compostable. And you don't even need soap actually to do this. I think if you use water and you do some scraping, it should work quite fine. We were talking about baby sea ponies families, so we have 3 more groups of babies that will come out. During year 4, we have the pretty and pearly baby sea ponies that had a shiny coating that covered their bodies, and they had different body shapes for international releases or UK releases. There were 8 characters, but actually 11 poses or 11 shapes. Then the next round will be the Sea Sparkle baby sea ponies during year 5. You can identify these by the painted shell necklaces that they have around their necks. And finally, during year 6, the watercolor baby sea ponies. Now, all of these ponies changed color for the body and the hair when they were soaked in water, but unfortunately, like I mentioned, this gimmick didn't last very long, especially if you use the toys how they were designed to be used, which was in bathtubs or swimming pools. This does lead me to believe that the effect was maybe caused by a coating of some sort. Oh, I want to show you my little visitor. Hi, Buddy. In a rare moment of connection, because Buddy is always in his world. I was saying about the coating, I think maybe it could have been a material in the plastic, you know, just like we have, after 40 years of these toys being around, we have something called plasticizer leakage, which is when the material that was used to make the plastic soft starts leaching out of the toy. I don't know if it's leaching or leaking or both, but if you want to learn more about this, you can look at my Venezuelan squeaky butt, official name, non-official name, but official community name, Pony Restoration, where I explain this a little bit more. So yeah, let's take a look at the video for a second, because I always forget to actually explain what I'm doing. So like I said, I decided to leave the original hair. This hair is more similar to yarn than nylon hair, so it's very different to any other pony hair. At least from the ones I have in my collection, I don't think there are others that use the same material. And I imagine the reason for using this was to absorb whatever material was the one responsible for the color changes in water. But it would be really interesting to see 40 years later if we can recreate this effect somehow in a way that doesn't really disappear so quickly. We have a channel in the server Discord that I'm so bad at visiting in general, I'm so sorry. But there's a channel that I call something like Pony Labs or Toy Labs. We can call it Toy Labs. And maybe I can share some findings in there if I eventually do learn more. I suspected that this hair was going to be very, very difficult to style as well, because nylon and acrylic hair, so acrylic is a little bit thicker than nylon, they're both quite easy to style because you put the perm rollers, roll the hair around them, and then you pour some boiling water on them, let them dry, and you get a really nice curl that lasts a long time. However, this hair is very different, and I can tell you now that the curls are not going to work. I also, in one of my Yisela moments, just like that time that I added wings to an already winged pony, I was looking forward to repairing this pony so I could actually make it take a bath again. So yeah, the curls would have disappeared anyway. So I left it here. I want to show you the process. I'm trying to get a little better at creating curls, so I tried some new things. But yeah, you will see for yourself. This is why this is not really a restoration, not even a repair. Now, something I do want to fix, although I created this problem, is the thin paint. In my experience painting or repainting symbols, acrylic paint works really well. You just have to make sure that it's a good quality one. I recommend Golden Maple, Vallejo, something around that area, like miniature painting acrylics, because they have a very good pigment density and they're really well mixed. And my main advice would be do lots of thin layers instead of one thick layer. I would also advise not to be scared of painting on these toys. It's very easy to remove the paint and start over again. You can just use some acetone or even some hot water and maybe like scratch it with your nail and it comes off with some effort, but it does come off. As you can see here, I actually had to also undo the top fin mark because I had messed it up. You will see what I mean soon. But anyway, we are approaching the end of this little repair. I wanted to try to make like a shorter video because I would love to go back to maybe a video a week, being very ambitious. But I have lots of toys that need repair and they're not like the catastrophic damage that will make like good content for a long video. It's like little things like this. So please let me know what you think about these little videos. It's unfortunately quite difficult to find the toys that need a lot of repair because people throw them away. They just go into landfills, which is like, I can't even think about it. I don't know, I know I'm being dramatic, but you know, a toy is what you think is a toy and what you make a toy. And it doesn't need to be perfect. So yeah, I have lots of toys like these that need some help, but not that much. So hopefully you will enjoy these shorter videos. Anyway, result time. I hope you're not disappointed. Let's take a look at the toy before. A scary close-up. As you can see, yeah, we have the rusting inside, mostly in the head, but also in some of the body and behind the fins. The fins. And now for the after. Don't get your hopes up. Ta-da! Here is our little sea pony after the bath, and yeah, some combing that didn't work that well, but you know, beach hair. I didn't glue back the head, but yeah, this is this is the result. It's a small transformation, but if that pony was me, I will feel very, very happy not to have all that rusty stuff in my head and my belly. Now for the pony's bath, I decided to bring a friend. I actually bought these two ponies together. They came from the Netherlands, so I don't want to separate them. And yeah, that's it. That's the video. I hope you didn't mind it. I want to give a huge thank you to everyone watching, but especially to the patrons who keep supporting me, even though I am so terrible at keeping up with everything. Thank you so, so much. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you very soon for the next one. Hopefully very, very soon. I hope you have a wonderful week. You deserve it. Alright, see you soon. Bye-bye. Oh, and you can find the book in the description or in retrogeekcrafts.com. Thank you. Bye-bye.